the way you solve the national debt is you have to raise taxes and you have to cut expenses.
Welcome back to The Unknowns. Today I have a fascinating guest named John Burke, who's not only the president of Trek Bicycles, but also a published author, A Bold Plan for America, 14 nonpartisan solutions based on the facts. John, great to have you. It seems like the facts are a little elusive these days.
They are indeed.
You obviously have a great career, a great professional career, and I noticed that your book is also free. You can download it on a website. So this isn't a money play by you. You really believe this.
It gets back to love of country, frustrated citizen. I mean, I take a look at some of these problems and I go, we can do better than this. And then I take a look at my business experience and I go, in business, we don't have Republicans and Democrats and we don't argue in the office. We get the smartest people in the room. We get a whiteboard out. We put up all the brutal facts. We have fun. We throw ideas all around and we get after it. $35 trillion in debt. The budget that President Biden just submitted right from the start says we're going to be another $1.8 trillion in debt this year.
All right, well, here you are. John, how do we solve the national debt?
Well, Charlie, the way you solve the national debt is you have to raise taxes and you have to cut expenses.
Any massive debt is too much debt, but have you sort of postulated a tipping point where it's too much debt? Is it 50 trillion, 60 trillion?
35 trillion today. The number one line in the budget is going to be interest expense. We're out of the days when interest rates are 1 or 2%. Those days are over. And I also know as a country, there's plenty of opportunities for us to reduce our spending. We make up 4% of the world's population, and we spend 38% of the world's defense dollars. Opportunity. We have a healthcare system that is twice as expensive as anyone else in the world, and we deliver results that are ranked 55th out of 57. Massive opportunity. I mean, we have over 800 military bases around the world. The Chinese have 5 and Russia has 25. Opportunity. I mean, we could keep going. If you take a look at the tax system in this country, 6,700 pages. And it's not 6,700 pages because that's what makes sense or that's what citizens want. It's 6,700 pages because people ask politicians to put things in the tax code, all sorts of treats. And if you could I think you could reduce the tax code to 10 pages, get rid of all the crap, and you would raise a ton of money.
In the Constitution, there is no mention of the Republican Party or the Democratic Party, but somehow this duopoly has sort of risen and shut out competition, in a nation that has the greatest competitive set in the world. Is that duopoly a problem with ballot access, gerrymandering? I mean, they like the deal they have, right? It's 2 and not 5.
It. Yeah, but we used to have this. It was a similar game minus the money. When you go back to Franklin Roosevelt, and you go back to Dwight Eisenhower, and you go back to Jerry Ford, these are people who put the country ahead of themselves. And now we have people and parties who put their political careers ahead of the best long-term interest of the people. And that's why we have 2 people running for president today who haven't heard one proposal from either one that requires any shared sacrifice on behalf of the American people.
But I think American people are like, well, we didn't get us here, but now we're going to bear the brunt of it. And until that happens, until they actually feel that either services are being cut off because we can't afford it, what is that moment in time that each citizen, and you probably have the figure about how much every citizen would have to pay in order to eliminate the debt. But when is that point in time that the citizens wake?
Now, let's proclaim it. It's National Citizen Wake Up Day. And here's the interesting thing that I came to when I wrote the book is I've always complained about a lack of leadership in the country. I really think it's a problem. But when I read the book, I came to the conclusion that our citizenship is just as bad as the leadership. The first thing it says is knowledgeable about the issues. What percent of the American people do you think would pass that test? Less than 10. Well, you can read my book. It'll take you through the 14 biggest challenges that we have. You can do it in less than 2 hours. Do it with your teenager. It's a nonpartisan view, and you'll know all about the country. And you will go, holy crap. It's amazing. It really is. And then the second thing about being a great citizen is voting. In a presidential election, somewhere between 70 and 75% of the people will vote, which means 25 to 30% won't vote. And in the midterms, less than 50% of American citizens will vote. If people voted in this country, you would have a much different country.
It is interesting. I'm from Illinois, and it's not just a story. It's true. Dan Rostenkowski and Donald Rumsfeld, when they were congressmen, used to get in the same station wagon and drive from Chicago area to Washington together. Now they go there and beat each other up, but there was such a comity among colleagues. Obviously this has gone out the window, but was there a defining moment when that sense of deference and comity sort of just disappeared?
For sure, you would go back and track the campaign finance laws and when you could start giving as much money as you want. There's somebody, there are people who are giving now, individuals giving now $80 million to campaigns. And I think money, if you take a look at this, go back to 1970, 3% of Congress people who retired went to work as lobbyists. Today, that number is 70%. There's so much money in this game. It's attracting people who want to make money versus who want to serve the country.
What happens if we don't do anything? Give me the dystopic future for America and the world.
This is a really great point that you bring up, and the world. I run a bike company, and we do business all over the globe, so I talk to people all around the world. America matters. America matters 10 times more than the average American thinks. People in Asia, the people all across Europe, we have a long, strong tradition of being leaders. I really think as a country, we're at a fork in the road. And one of the forks says more of the same. We keep electing the same kind of people. Citizens really don't get educated because they think it's somebody else's problem. And it just gets worse. We're pretty consistently going like this. And the other fork in the road says we have this proud tradition. The road is called humility. And we put the country ahead of ourselves. We face the brutal facts of our problems. We get after those problems. We solve the problems. And we make progress.